Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Fierce and Flowing. Today's a super special day for me because I am interviewing one of my teachers. And I absolutely love my teachers because, for me, they are the gateway to all of those things that I have wanted to learn and also gift to the world in my own way. And so Inessa is my Feng Shui teacher. And I'm just very grateful that she's here and sharing this space with me. Inessa, welcome.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
Yay! Thank
You're my
you.
you're my you're my go-to student for referrals. You're
Thank
my
you
first
so
one.
much. That means the
I
world to
trust
me. You
you.
have no idea. It really fills my cup
Yeah,
to be there for you and your
thank
clients
you.
and give them my best. So thank you for that.
It says a lot about you and your talents, and your talents they far exceed feng shui. So this is just a part of what you do.
Oh, thank you so much. So,
Yeah,
Inessa, I want to give you this opportunity briefly to tell the world who you are,
okay,
and what you want to share about yourself.
sure. What I do, who I am, and what I do. I am a joyful mother of a 16-month-old.
Oh my goodness.
And I had my child in my late 40s. I was 40, I don't even want to say, but I was late. It was late 40s when I had my
Okay,
first child through IVF. And it was a
incredible.
long time coming. I met my husband later in life as well.
Right.
So that's who I am now, as a joyful mother of a 16-month-old, balancing my career, seeing over 20, psychotherapy clients a week, and
Wow.
still managing a feng shui practice virtually.
Okay.
A new homeowner.
So much new.
So much new is happening right now. I birthed a baby, then I birthed a book that I've been working on for, so many years. I have to say, like I downloaded the idea in my late 20s when I was in,
Mhm.
no, I downloaded the idea when I was 33 in Bali, and it took a long journey to get there. And finally, in the process of having the baby, gave me that push somehow, like having the child
Love that.
they brought in so much discipline for
Yes.
me, so much structure that I was able to push that book through as well.
That is amazing. And that alone is such a testament to never giving up on your ideas and your
Yeah.
passions. I know so many of us, we judge ourselves for not doing things fast or having an idea and then thinking that if we don't pursue that idea in the moment, that it's never going to be birthed. So I'm so happy that you shared that little
Yeah,
detail
there were many
about the
and
book.
there were many like installations of that process because there was the beginning when all the information came through and it went on the first draft, and then there was like years of sitting on a shelf,
Right.
and then there was going to a Hay House writing conference where I was pretty much told by the president of Hay House, like, don't write the book because teens don't read, or young adults don't read
Wow.
spiritual books. So then it
Wow.
sat again on the shelf, and then it actually, funny enough, you'll appreciate this, but it took my astrologer, because you're an astrologer. It took
Yes.
my astrologer to say, you have to birth this book. It is actually essential for your mental health. You have to get it
Yes.
out of your psyche because it's parked in there, taking up so much space, and it's a gift that you're going to give to the world. And it's important for you to experience the process of sharing something like that with other people and feeling what it feels like for that information to land on them and to benefit their lives. So I'm so
Yeah.
grateful I got that push. So that's why it took so long. And it had many
Wow.
iterations of writing, like
Yes.
back to it, editing. So yes, for people that are listening, it doesn't matter how long it
It
takes.
doesn't matter.
You keep coming
And
back to it. Yeah,
and also being cautious about the advice and criticism
that's
that
true.
we receive
Uh,
from others, especially others who we really put on a pedestal, like Hay House. Like who doesn't put Hay House on a pedestal, right? And I want to say, because I'm in my 50s already, and
no way.
oh yeah.
Okay.
And I love my 50s. I have to say there's so much freedom in the 50s, but
Yeah.
when I was in my late teens, Inessa, is when I started studying Feng Shui on my own.
I'm getting
I went
tingles. Yeah.
to the library and checked out all of these books, ended up buying my own books, taught myself, created my own tools, and that started in my teens, right? And
So
so
cool.
I'm glad you also mentioned that because we really are going through an awakening, especially with our younger generation, um, who are so spiritual, who are here to take consciousness, I feel, to the next level
Mhm.
more than we have. And boy, I know you're already going to tell me that it's, you know, bestseller, and you probably have so many teens who are reaching out to you and saying, thank you, thank you, thank you for publishing this book, you
Well,
know?
you know, I actually switched my book to a young adult model. So now it's
Okay.
like 13 to 30. So I
Love it.
actually have that whole range of people.
Yes.
And I took out the word teen out of my book, and I wrote young adult instead, so
Yeah.
it can reach more people. And also,
Yes.
a lot of teens don't like to be, as it turns out, they don't like to be referred to as teens.
Right.
So it's just for, and we all have an inner teenagers. And
Yeah.
I have 30 something year olds saying, wow, I have a 6-year-old client actually who's been reading my book and saying, I can't believe how much this is helping me with my space. So it's really for everybody. But the reason I wrote the book was because I was what I consider to be the messiest teen on the planet.
Yeah.
And all of my problems ended up on my floor, in the floor
Yes.
clutter. All my emotional stuff was on the floor because I didn't know how to process what was going on. So I took everything out onto my space, and I didn't have a system for aligning my intentions with
Yes.
my life. And so
Yep.
that's why I wanted to write this book, is to give them a first step, which I think the space is an easy step, an
It
easy place.
is.
It's an easy place to go. It's the most natural place to go for manifestation, for allowing, you know, the environment to reinforce a sense of identity, because as we know, during that time, 14 to 19, and even beyond, because they say it's only 14 to 19, but even beyond, that time is called role confusion versus identity, because we try
Mm,
on so many hats.
yes.
So we're going to try on so many different styles of relating. So I felt like the
Right.
space is a great, it's like an incubator for that process.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. And I feel that growing up, it really is a safe place for us.
Yes.
Um, I saw that with myself. My space was so important to me. And I saw that with my children who are now, you know, adults. But even now as adults, their space is so important to them. And for me, that's the biggest part of Feng Shui that I really love, is planting our intentions into our space. Like to
Uh,
me, that's the
yeah.
most special part of the process. But before we get too much further,
Yes.
I want to give you the space now to really share with everyone a fierce moment in your life that was an important moment for you, right? And I define fierce in many ways. I don't like to define it as something, you know, where we're angry or violent. It's really that inner voice, you know, calling us to do something bigger than who we are or where we are in our life, something that's challenging, something that maybe other people in our life are not going to agree with, but it's something that we can no longer wait any longer to do. And so, why don't you share with us what one of those moments was for
Sure.
you?
Well, yeah. So I think the fiercest moment was, as I say, coming out of the closet as a feng shui consultant to my Ukrainian Jewish parents.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I immigrated to this country when I was 5 years old from the former Soviet Union.
Wow.
And as many Ukrainian Jewish parents do, my parents had high hopes for me. They wanted me to be a doctor, a lawyer, or married to one.
Right.
And I was none of those. And I started having a spiritual inclination, much like you, at a very young age, going to bookstores,
Yeah.
looking for, you know, solutions to what I was going through. And I remember I was living in LA. I had already met my feng shui master. I had already feng shuied myself into Hollywood. I was working in casting for film and television. I
Okay.
thought that was the thing that I was here to do, because I really had these fantasies about being in that industry.
Yeah.
And they were fantasies because when I got into the industry, I was very shocked and disappointed at how cold-hearted it was, and how
Yeah.
bad of a fit. And I'm sure it's not cold-hearted in every domain. There's probably good people there too, but just my experience of it was, I'm too sensitive and this is not an alignment for me.
Yeah.
But seeing how feng shui had popped up in the door, I was curious about it, and I wanted to continue. And so, you know, through a few auspicious circumstances, the doors were opened, and I started to feng shui, you know, friends, and then people started hiring me. And at first, I was keeping it a secret from my parents, because it was enough for me to have gone to Hollywood, because they thought that was a crazy idea. Let alone now I'm going to be doing feng shui. So I had to keep it a secret. I was in my early 20s. I had to keep it a secret from my mom and dad. And I just remember like distinctly this moment of being in Starbucks coffee. It was 12 o'clock. and I didn't have a client. I really wasn't working that day. And it was a hard time because I wasn't working all the time. I was trying to figure out how to make it as a Feng Shui consultant.
Right.
And I decided that I wasn't going to work for anybody else anymore. I was 27 or 28. My mother called me. I was at Starbucks. My mother said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm at Starbucks, Mama." She said, "You have good life. Starbucks coffee, 12 o'clock in afternoon. No job, no husband, only Feng Shui." So like I make light of it, but really it was a very difficult time in my life
Yeah.
where they would call me every single day. What are you doing with your life? Why are you doing this with your life? Because at some point I told them that I wanted to explore this
Yes.
as a profession, and it was onslaught of projected fear and how I'm never going to make money, I'm never going to meet anybody, how what an embarrassment it was. My father would say, I never thought my daughter, I never thought my daughter was going to be a bitch. So it was just a lot of that, and I took all of that and as you know, I channeled that into writing, and then I would
Yes.
perform on stage, and I would parody my mom and dad.
Which you
But
do so well.
thank you. But inside, it was so hard because I
Yeah.
was constantly doubting myself. Am I going to make money? And there were so many moments where I wasn't making money, and my parents weren't wanting to help me at that point because I had chosen, my own path. They could have helped
Right.
me, but there was a point where they were like, "No, if you're going to go off on your own, don't expect any handouts from us."
Right.
And so it was just that wasn't the hardest part. Was because I didn't. The hardest part was the rejection.
Yeah.
It's just that they couldn't see what I was doing. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't blame them because I wasn't really making a lot of money. And,
Sure.
and they come from a model of practicality. Like, can you survive? Can you pay your rent and support yourself?
Right.
And if not, then you should be doing something different. And also, like, what is this Feng Shui? What kind of sushi is that? We don't we don't like spiritual. Spirituality is for people that don't want to work. So that's the model that they come from.
Right.
And I just I knew through a series of events from childhood, having dreams where I met feng shui masters in my
Wow.
dream, like having so many occurrences that lined up, that I knew that I was supposed to be studying this. That was the
Yes.
beginning. It was the beginning for me. And also because of my own relationship with space, it was so chaotic
Yeah.
that I understood through the study of feng shui that outer reality is a reflection of inner reality, and that
Right.
I could shift my space and bring myself into alignment and harmony and back in the flow.
Right.
So I would do that all the time because it would be like chaos, cosmos, chaos, It was this constant process for me, which went on and on and on. And that chaos cosmos also mirrored my early childhood experience of being an immigrant in this country with parents who are trying to survive, them being afraid of not being able to
Right.
survive. So my whole relationship with space and my journey with that dynamic was similar, mirror to what was going on with my parents and me as immigrants in this country. So, the more I understood the psychological underpinnings of it all, that made me want to go and study psychology. And as you know, I
Yeah.
went on, then I got my first master's in spiritual psychology, my second master's in archetypal Jungian depth psychology. But it really took a long time to make all of this into a career and
Yeah.
make money, like really make money out of it in the way that my parents would approve, but
Right.
and also in the way where I felt like I had more than enough. And I
Yeah.
think that was a part of this. A part of the sacrifice for me was, and it was a sacrifice because my parents kept trying to pull me back into and bring me back to Seattle. I was living in LA. They kept saying, if you just move back, we'll get you a condo. If you just move back, we'll set you
Mm,
up. And I was like, no, I'd rather live in a 250 square foot apartment, which was a box,
right.
than go and have things
Yeah.
and potentially, sell myself out and not be satisfied.
Yeah. And be in that energy that's going to keep pulling you back. Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. What an incredible story,
Now I
Inessa.
regret. I wish I took that condo and just,
Continued the
yeah,
secret
secret.
life of the Feng Shui practitioner. Yeah, I mean, that would be a good book too, right? A good novel.
Yeah.
But when did you begin to, first of all, I think that story is going to resonate with so many people who listen to this podcast in particular, because I just think I attract people like us who are a little rebellious, who
Yeah.
prioritize our dreams, our passions, our callings, and all of those signs that kind of show us this is what you're meant to be doing, right? And but so difficult to be rejected by the people who you love most in your life, right? And who you want that protection, that love without, what's the word? Conditions, right? Conditional love. And so I know, and I just know what a heart-centered person you are, right? So going back to the 5 elements, like you have so much fire in your archetype, right? So
Yeah.
you should have been in LA performing. You should have been in a creative space. I mean, part of you needed that experience in this
Yeah.
lifetime, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then with fire energy is the heart, and going into psychotherapy and not only healing yourself, but helping others to heal
Yeah.
through the heart, right?
Yeah.
Even your Feng Shui practice is Feng Shui from the heart, right? So
Yeah.
I loved seeing that synchronicity. But when did things begin to, and have they shifted with your parents, and
Oh
what
yeah.
helped that happen?
Long time. Yeah, a long while ago. What happened? It wasn't an overnight thing, but I think they went through some of their own turmoil,
Mm,
their life, and um, it was a lot of trauma, but then it also softened them to a certain
mm,
extent. I mean, look, they were trying to protect me. They
right.
weren't coming from a malicious place. They just
No.
wanted me to be safe,
Yeah,
but it came across as controlling
sure.
and antagonistic. But really, they went through some turmoil that softened them,
Mm,
softened their hearts, and I think it prioritized certain
okay.
things for them, and things changed, and then it became like them calling me for advice for vitamins and feng shui stuff, and we're having an issue with this. What do we do? What do we do in the house? So it really did change, but it wasn't an overnight.
Yeah,
Um, and I think also I did figure out how to bring all the pieces together to have more stability in my
yeah,
life and more financial flow. And it did
yes.
take, bringing the psychology in with the feng shui and making a career out of it, which,
Mm-hmm.
you reference my fire. It's funny you should say that you feel that. Well, not that you feel that, but because I do have 7 fire signs in my chart and no earth. And so that lack of
Yes.
earth in my chart that's why it took so much longer.
Me too, by the
Really?
way.
No, you don't have earth?
I have a lot of, I think I have one
You're
planet.
lucky. Where is it?
Yeah, so it is in my, hold on, I'm scanning my chart. So actually, I have it right here. Hold on.
Okay.
You have to imagine, I read so many charts a day that is, so my Mars is in Taurus.
Oh, wow.
But guess where it is?
Where?
The 12th house.
Which is what that's subconscious? Which,
Yes,
yes.
in
Okay. Okay.
spirituality.
Spirituality. Well, that's good because then you bring things down here. That's perfect.
Definitely, but
Yeah.
it's hard to ground things.
Right.
And my
Right.
rising is Gemini. I'm all up here.
And my son is Gemini.
Oh, I've got so many gifts
How'd you
in
have a Leo? You
air.
have a Leo son, right? Leo son?
No, I
Or is
have
it?
a Pisces sun,
Oh,
Scorpio moon.
we have a lot of similarities. So I'm a Gemini sun, Cancer moon, Pisces rising. So
Wow.
there's
Oh
a
my
lot of,
goodness.
yeah, interesting.
That's beautiful.
I always
But
thought it was a Leo though. You don't have any Leo at all in your chart? You're
I
such a
don't,
Leo energy
no, not really. Not really.
though. Okay.
However, I will say that where I'm getting your fire from is from the Feng Shui astrology, right? Which is,
Ah,
it's a different animal. They kind of work together, but they're different and in your face. So if I'm face
okay.
reading you, fire everywhere. Fire everywhere. The
And it's
dimples,
true.
the curly hair, your
Are you a fire in feng shui astrology too?
no.
What are
So
you?
I am, my primary energy is water.
Okay.
So the dreamer, the artist. By
Mm,
the way, for you, it's the performer all the way. I actually have to look up your feng shui numbers, because I can't
so
remember what
curious.
the 3 of them were. But um, my middle number, which is kind of like your moon sign, your
Yeah.
soul, is metal. And it's the archetype of the perfect hostess, the princess.
Mm,
And that doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, right? Everything needs to look perfect on the outside. So talk about not wanting to share with the world who I really was from a spiritual perspective, right?
mm.
And then my third number, which is life purpose, life challenge, is Earth. Um,
Okay.
but it comes across, it's called the transformer, right? So that shows up in people who are therapists, coaches. They're here to help others transform.
Interesting.
Um, but yeah, I do struggle with the earth, which is why I always try to surround myself with earthy people to help me,
Yeah,
you know,
around
bring
that.
things down.
I hear you. My husband has three earth signs, or four earth signs. He's got a lot of earth to help, but he comes across as more airy than I am.
Yeah.
So, but it's more like a energetic, right? Because I can feel his earth.
I think I remember him having a pretty like
Yeah,
tall
big head.
forehead.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's where it's coming from.
Well, it's a square, and that squareness is good and bad, and
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
what
I do too.
I mean.
I want to stick a little bit with,
Yeah.
because I think this is going to help so many of the listeners who are entrepreneurs who have been at it for a while and still haven't been able to really get to a place, like you said, where they are not only making ends meet, but they've got more than what they
Yeah.
need. How did you find that success from a practical perspective?
Well, I think it was alignment, opportunities, the timing and history.
Yeah.
COVID happened. A lot of doors opened up virtually. So like
Yes.
once COVID happened, a virtual business, my business took off virtually in a way that it hadn't before. And I think it was really that piece. But I did a lot of manifestation work up until that moment. So there was a lot of, prayer around, God, like set up my life in a way where I can use my natural talents and gifts, and that will also allow me to thrive and will keep me excited and engaged. And I need portability. I need movement.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, as you know, I was living in Florida for 9 years, and then everything changed when I met my husband. I moved to LA. I mean, not to LA. Sorry, that was before. That was my 20s. I moved to Northern California, and so the way my life is set up now is that I'm able to work, in different states with psychotherapy clients. I'm able to work with Feng Shui clients virtually. I don't have to be in one location, even though we are landing now because of the baby.
Yeah.
But I have freedom to move. I can go in the summer. We're going away for 2 months, to Washington State to visit with family. But all of that was there was so much manifestation. There was so much visualization that went into it. There was so
Yes.
much feng shui that went into it. There was so many ideal scenes that I created. So many getting clear on, what kind of a lifestyle do I want to have. And I knew from a very early age, I tried working behind desks and working for people. I really did. And actually, I felt really bad that I wasn't able to conform
Right.
until I just accepted the fact that for whatever reason, I lack capacity
Yeah.
to conform. Like I
Yeah.
can't overcome that part of myself.
Right.
I can't work for anyone. Well, I can work with people, but I can't work for a company. I can't work for a structure,
Yeah.
organization where there's like an expectation of the same thing every day.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about?
It doesn't suit your energy. I feel you because
Yeah,
for me early on, I needed it and it helped me. I was, again, divine timing, right job, right place, right time, allowed me to get a taste of building a career where I could start putting my talents into play. But very soon thereafter, my North Node is in Aquarius. I'm here to be a rebel. I'm here to be the weirdo that's going to talk astrology and feng shui and, to the corporate world. And they're going to be like, who are you? And what are you doing? That's what I'm here to do. But it happened a little bit later on in life when I realized I feel so constrained. I've been having fun with this career and I know that I can be successful, but I'm not doing what I'm here to do, what I'm meant to do, and how I'm meant to
sure.
support others
Yeah,
and serve. And
yeah,
so the rebel voice got really, really big. And to your point, I know that about myself now that it's not that I can't work for another person. I just choose not to because I won't be at my best.
yeah. I mean, and that's wonderful that you know that you can, but you choose not to. I can't. I've tried,
Yes.
and I'm not my best. And I wouldn't want me working for me because
Right. I
I'm
got
not
you.
I'm not an administrative person. That's the other piece of it is having, outsourcing and having support and having help and
Yes.
and that took me a long time to allow myself to delegate and to have people support me in different facets of my business because I was trying to do a lot of things on my own
Yeah.
and I didn't enjoy certain aspects of it, and so I would procrastinate and delay. And but now thank God now like I've shifted into a more collaborative space where I'm giving things over to other people, and I'm able to get the support I need so I can just focus on the business of Feng Shui and psychotherapy.
Yeah.
But I was going to say to you, when I was in Miami for those 9 years, so much was manifestation. So much was, I manifested an opportunity, as you know, at Canyon Ranch. I
Yes.
created a job for myself as a Feng Shui practitioner on a medical team. There was no job like that. So
No, you created it.
I created a space where I had a lot of visibility, and
Yeah.
and it also gave me a lot of credibility. So I was able to go out and attract in different kinds of clients. So there were these key points in my life where doors would open, but they opened also because there was so much time put in to
Yeah.
planting those seeds. And then my Feng Shui master told me years ago, because I was always complaining in my 20s. Why isn't this happening fast enough? And in my early 30s, I was always complaining, like, why is it taking so long? He said, sometimes, when the success comes later in life, we can appreciate it more. So I have to say it's true that the taste of success, I can appreciate it more now because I've been so humbled because I
Yeah.
struggled so much. There was so much struggle.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm talking about? It was a
I
hustle.
totally do.
Mhm.
Yeah, and some of us, we can see it in our natal charts. We can also see it in our human design. Like in my human design, it's very, very clear that I, like many others, have three different cycles of my
Oh,
life.
you're a 6'2".
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so it's really going to be in my 50s and after where I'm going to reach the
Yeah.
pinnacle of my
You come
success.
off the roof.
Exactly. But, and this is where spiritual tools um, can help validate what we're feeling and give a little bit of backing to like, it's okay.
Yeah.
You were very successful in the beginning of your life. The middle of your life, you've been like kind of wandering and trying things out and, playing and testing. And then now get ready for the upswing again.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
totally. Do you remember Eat, Pray, and Love?
Oh, yeah.
So remember Kitut Lear, the healer that she worked with in the book?
Yes.
When I met him, I had a reading with him in Bali when
Oh
I went
my
to Bali.
gosh.
He told
Okay.
me, so when I was 33, he told me the same thing. He said it will happen much later in life. Like he told me it would just take more time. And
Yeah.
so I always knew that. And I really try to remind myself of that.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed my 30s in Miami. Like I really enjoyed the cultivation
Yes.
of my relationship, of my spiritual life, the appreciation of where I was. Like I
Yeah.
really dropped into that experience for all those years,
Yes.
knowing that it was coming.
Absolutely. And now, I can see that growth, right? Like your life has shifted completely. And and the age doesn't matter, right? And what
No.
an inspiration for other women who are in their 40s, even in their 50s who want a child, right? It's
Yeah.
it is possible. It may not be possible for everybody, but not only having a child, which has been and a relationship, which I know has been something you've been desiring for so long, but also being in a place where your business is at its best, right? And you gave birth to this incredible book. So I think that it's going to give so many women hope that there is no age limit,
No.
for the manifestation of our dreams and of our life purpose, right?
Right.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, I had to compromise. It's true that I had to compromise a certain kind of lifestyle for a
yeah,
while.
yeah,
I couldn't have everything, but that's not for everybody. Some people can, only because my experience was like that doesn't mean that somebody else's experience will be
right.
the same way. Um, I think a lot of my clients are afraid because they don't want to sacrifice their lifestyle. They're caught up in these golden handcuff careers
Yes.
where they're 9 to 5 and they have their benefits and their 401ks, and they're afraid to lose that.
Yeah.
And they're afraid of what's on the other side of that and how long it'll take. And sometimes you do have to sacrifice the
Yes.
feeling of safety and security and throw yourself out there and just allow that net to appear, which I believe wholeheartedly that it does because I've experienced it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Because for so much for like my early 30s, at least, it was a hustle and a prayer. I didn't know when the next Feng Shui client would come,
Right.
but it always came. The
Yeah.
clients always came somehow.
That is my experience too. And I
Yeah.
think a big part of it is to not have an expectation around how it's going to appear, because it's
Right.
not always going to appear exactly the way you want it, right? And when I look back at those nets that kept popping up, I'm like, who would have thought that I would be doing this, or that this person would show up, or, you know, and, but you have to be so dedicated to taking the leap.
Yes, and to like really doing what you're here to do. So that's what, like, I think that's what kept me going, because I
Yeah.
knew that I'm here to elevate and to help people, and that Feng Shui was one of the tools. That's
Right.
what brings me the most joy and happiness. That brings me ultimate satisfaction. I'm a manifesting generator.
Yeah.
I'm a 35. Are you a manifesting generator?
Manifesting generator. Yep.
So we're here to be satisfied.
Exactly.
That we have to be satisfied. Otherwise, I think, what is it? We're resentful or
Frustration.
frustration. Yeah. So, and also learning human design, studying human design really helped me re-strategize my life.
Right?
It
It's so
shifted a lot
incredible.
for
Just
me.
the one part, which maybe this for you as well, was like, I needed that validation that I hadn't received anywhere else, which was, you are here to respond.
Mm,
In other words, wait till life shows you,
yeah.
and then you're gonna get that gut feeling that's, yes, I'm gonna follow that.
You're sacral. You're sacral.
I'm sacral.
I'm emotional, so I don't get it.
Oh, yes, that
Again, I
makes so
have to
much
wait
sense.
24 hours.
A few days for you to be out of your
Yes.
emotional cycle. My son is emotional as well. So yeah, I mean,
It's
knowing these things about yourself are
Yes, very helpful.
very
And
helpful.
speaking to that, I remember, and sometimes manifestations, you may get an insight or a download, and it may not happen until, 5, 6, 7, 10 years later, or a month later.
Right.
So, like with my book, I got it in Bali when I was 33. I published when I was in my 40s. But what I was going to say is, I took myself when I was 38 or 39. I told myself that I wasn't going to wait anymore for my one to show up, and that I was going to give myself what it was that I wanted. And I really wanted to travel. So I started to take myself traveling alone. I
Mm.
started doing solo trips to Paris, to Spain, and I took myself to Paris, and I was in the back of this motorcycle with this, jazz musician that I met. I was having a little rendezvous. And
I love it. It's like a movie. I
I
think
just
I
wanted
just
to,
saw that movie like a
oh, you
couple
did?
nights ago, Inessa.
That's funny. That's funny. So there I was on the back of the motorcycle, and I saw this billboard, and it said, Feng Shui condominiums, or Feng Shui. Somebody, there was an advertisement for like apartments or condos that had been Feng Shuied. I was like, what? That's such a great idea. And that was,
Great.
and I didn't know about human design then, but
Yeah.
I responded to that by coming back to Miami, starting to create proposals to different, buildings that were coming up. Yeah, there were developers
Yes.
asking if they'd like me to Feng Shui them, to certify them. Well, a lot of it didn't happen at the time, because the influx of Chinese that were supposed to come in to buy all these units, they didn't come to Miami. There was this whole thing that the Chinese are now coming. We have to Feng Shui Miami, but it never happened. But but what did happen was, without me picking up the phone even, I got a phone call from the Mandarin Oriental Hotel. I don't know. I didn't call them, and they asked me to space clear their entire and Feng Shui their entire space. So that's what I'm saying. You don't know how it's
Yeah.
going to come in. So I
Yeah.
got like, oh, I need to Feng Shui these bigger buildings.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it came in through the hotel. And then after that, then I started getting called by other
Properties.
developer
Mhm.
properties and developers saying, there was a suicide here. Can you come and clear the whole space?
Wow. Wow.
But I didn't reach out to any of these people. So
Right.
it came to me. It wasn't exactly as I had envisioned it on the back of the motorcycle, but it
But
came
that
in the
was
way
a
that it
seed
needed.
that was planted. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that that's important for those individuals out there who decide to take a leap and to recognize, if you truly believe the net will come, right? You're serving yourself by taking a step toward your destiny, toward your purpose,
Yeah.
and the universe will support you. You just don't know how it's going to show up, right? And
Yeah.
following for us, right? The For manifesting generators in general, we want to be really listening to what our gut is telling us, right? And can you imagine if you had told yourself, no, I'm not going to say yes to buildings and properties. I just want to work with homeowners. You would have, it would have been a completely different direction
Yeah.
that your
Yeah.
life went in, right? But what a
Yeah.
gift. That's
Yeah.
incredible. So
Yeah.
I want to ask you about the book.
Okay.
What do you love most about it? Like, what's your favorite? Oh, I
I
love
love,
it. And she
I love,
looks like you.
she looks like a teen version of me, but I wasn't ever
Yes.
that tall and skinny. This is what I wanted to look like. Kidding.
Yes.
Well, there's so many exercises in here. There's just, it's like packed with lots of images and beautiful images and exercises. It's an experience. So it takes you through an experience. And I think there's a real potential here for a transformation in your relationship with your space, to
Mm,
deepen in that relationship, to understand how, your psyche and your space are deeply intertwined, and how you can make changes in this physical environment that will usher in changes in your life. And I think it's
definitely.
a tool for empowerment.
I love it.
It's just a
Yeah.
tool, but it's fun. It's fun. It's fun shway. So it's supposed to be. It's light. It's written.
Yes.
It's lighthearted. It's written in a very lighthearted language. The very last chapter is my case study. So that's kind of where I present where I went out and worked with um, two teenagers, and there were more than two, but I only presented the two case studies for the book, and the before and after makeover, so people understood, you know, the deeper psychological relationship between us and our things, and how
Yeah.
those attachments to our objects can impact how we feel about ourselves, and can also impede our ability to move forward, and the importance of letting go of
Oh,
those things.
so important. I think that Feng Shui becoming certified when I did and bringing it into my practice as a practitioner not only changed my life, but, before this call, I was sharing with you some of the shifts that happened after we Feng Shuied my home, right? And I've come to appreciate all of those things that I've had in my life and when it's time for them to go,
Yeah.
right? The memories will always be there, but energetically, they're taking up space that needs to now be filled
Yeah.
with something else. And
Yeah.
that was, one huge gift because selling a home of 26 years, there's a lot of stuff in there, and we all had to give ourselves permission to
Mm.
let certain things go or give things to certain people and to be able to energetically start fresh. But in particular with my daughter, since we're talking about, kind of young people embracing this and the fun of it, and she embraced it so much. At first, it was kind of like, I'm gonna force you to kind of feng shui your room. Let's do it together. Let me kind of teach you what I'm doing, and let's do it. And it transitioned into she can't have an organized space. Like she needs her space to be clear and clean because she breathes better, she thinks better, she sleeps better. And she'll call me, both of my kids will call me when they need their energy cleared, and they're like, Mom, can you clear my energy?
I
You
love
know,
that.
and I'm like, this is just
Yeah.
incredible, right? For those parents out there who want to deepen your relationship with your children and teach them certain energetic skills and principles that they're going to take with them into adulthood, and in those moments that are tough where you're not there with them, they're going to know how to manage their energy.
Yeah, and the teenagers tend, not all of them, but from, from what I've, from my experience of working with teens, some of them, um, they have very stuck energy in their rooms,
Yes.
and they don't. There's because of that age stage, they want to be kind of left alone, and they start differentiating from the parental figure, and they just want to do it their way.
Yeah.
And I did have a mom call me out recently. Well, I haven't been doing in-person sessions since the baby. So right before the baby was, before I got pregnant, I had a in-house appointment, and I went into her room, the teen, and she just seemed really down and very little affect in her face,
Yeah.
and her room just felt so stagnant.
Mm.
Um, I don't think she'd swept under her bed in like 2 years. So I said, let's move the bed. Let's start
Yeah.
sweeping. And then we just swept. We don't even organize anything. There was no like, oh, put this here and a plant in the mirror and clear. No, no, no. Swept the dust out. I cleared the space. Right when I finished clearing, she started to cry
Cry.
uncontrollably for like 25 minutes. So all that
Wow.
stuff that she'd been all that all pent up emotions, she was able to finally
Incredible.
release. And I'm always just like, how, like, I myself don't fully understand what's happening, but it
Yeah,
always happens. But it happens like
but it
this so
works.
often. It
Yeah,
works. Like there is this symbiotic, really symbiotic relationship. Like you shift something here and it shifts it there. And it just made me so happy that she was able to release whatever that was, that she was finally
right.
able to get it out. And she's felt so much better ever since.
Yes,
He doesn't know who that lady was with the
right.
bells, you know, that
So
came into the house.
beautiful. That is so beautiful. I had an experience recently where I cleared a home. It was a rental, and they were building their home that they were going to move into. Um, so I cleared it when it was empty, like there was nothing in there.
Mm.
And she calls me when she went back to the house like a week later, and she's like, it's like there's dead bugs everywhere. It's like they came
Oh,
out of
wow.
like the ceilings of the walls. And
Yeah,
I'm like, you never know how it's going to show up. But
yeah,
that was a massive clearing in and of itself,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, there's always fun and cool things that show up that it's just
Well, it keeps proving it, right? It keeps
it
giving
does.
me it gives me the evidence over and over and over again. Like,
Yeah.
okay, this stuff works because I still have that some little part of me is that Ukrainian Jew, from
Yeah. Does
the
this
old
really work?
country is like Feng Shui, really? Like this, what is that? Is that sushi? Is that interior design? But you know what I mean? So like I think I do still
The
need
proof.
the
Yeah.
proof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's important. I mean, for the human part of us, right?
The
The human
human
part
part,
of us.
that little part, it's still left.
Yeah, we still need it.
Yeah.
But okay, so I know we're getting close to the end here. And so there was something that you said to me in prepping for this that I just really
Oh,
loved. Um that your life now has been about, with all these changes, navigating the changes, connecting to your higher self, and drawing upon that powerful energy to function at an extraordinary level. Just that sentence alone, function at an extraordinary level. I know for a fact that every single person who comes to me for a consultation, like that is what they're looking for, to be able to function at an extraordinary level. Now, as a mom, a busy mom, an author, a therapist, a Feng Shui
the wife
practitioner, there's so much that you're doing, a wife, yes, like
pumping all the time. I
pumping
was
all
I
the
was pumping all
time.
the time up and now I was doing 8 pumps a day. Now I'm down to four, thank God, because that was really
Wow.
hard. Yeah,
Yeah, that's hard.
that was hard. But go ahead.
What do you feel if you were to just be able to point at something, one or two things that have really helped you to be able to sit here and say today that you're functioning at an extraordinary level? What are those things that are supporting you in doing that?
Well, I have to remind myself to support myself every single day, first of all. You know
Okay.
that. So I have to make that time and that space.
Yeah.
So, sleep has become my highest priority because I was not getting enough sleep up until recently. Even though I was functioning at an extraordinary level, I don't even know how I was doing it. I really, though, I have, really metaphysically, I believe having a baby for
Mm.
me changed me to such an extent that my strength and my capacity to endure discomfort is it's so different than what it ever was before. You know, I just feel like I have resilience now times a million,
Yeah.
and I have, but these practices, I'm constantly refocusing myself on what are the practices so I can maintain and sustain this. Um, and today I made sure to meditate. I have not been meditating much because it's been hard, but taking walks have been very
Yes.
important for me. A lot of walks, a lot of talking to God, a lot of prayer, listening to people that inspire
Mm.
and elevate me. Since if I'm so tired and I can't, I feel like I can't do it myself, I will just listen to meditations on YouTube. I'll listen to people that
Right.
inspire me. I'll keep that positive energy coming in to keep me strong. But I do think I got a gift with the baby.
Oh,
I,
I totally
I
connect
do.
with that because again, we're two women here,
Mhm.
and most of my listeners are women, and women are fierce mothers. When you're a
Yes.
mother, it's just a whole new level of fierceness, of resilience, of this mama bear energy that not only
Yeah.
supports our children, but supports us if we
Yes.
allow it to,
So
right?
like yeah, I think I expanded my container, like got, I mean, literally I am bigger too. I'm 5 pounds bigger, but physically I got bigger, but my
More of you to
container,
love, Inessa.
thank you. Physically and also like energetically, I got much bigger. So now I can have a book,
Yes,
have a therapy practice, have a child, have a husband, and I can and have a new house. I can do it all in a
yes.
way where I don't know if I would have ever, I don't know if I would have believed back then that I could have done it this well. Um, I think the baby, I really think he was my gift. He is a triple Capricorn,
Wow.
and I have, like I said, no Earth in my chart.
Oh my gosh.
So he's given me something. He gave me
Yeah.
when I was carrying him, he gave me that push to finish the book, finish writing the book. Something about the energy of this baby,
Yes.
the magic, and has worked miracles in my life. I really think it's the baby. I mean, I really do.
I believe
I
that.
believe it.
My son is a Capricorn sun, Taurus moon,
Oh wow.
Leo, well, Leo, no, Taurus rising, Leo moon. Same
Wow.
thing. I mean, I just had my conversations with him are so grounding. It's like, Mom, you don't need to do that. You don't need to spend money there. Just stop it. Like, do this
Wow.
instead. Like,
I
like,
love
thank you.
that.
Thank you for giving me the earth that I need, that reminder,
Yeah.
you know? Ah, I have just loved our conversation. I can go on and
I
on.
love it. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. And I want to close by just giving you the space for anyone who, first of all, let's
Oh,
share the title of your book again.
okay.
And obviously they can get it on Amazon,
Yes.
right?
Amazon, Barnes and Noble's Fun Shway, a Feng Shui guide for young adults. Change your room, change your life. I have 2 programs I'm launching.
Okay, great.
Remember
Yes.
the program that you did back in the day?
Yes.
Remember how I said that was my last in-person one? Well, it
Yeah.
was, because
Okay.
now I'm taking that program and the first program, I'm putting them together. So I'm creating a new Feng Shui from the Heart immersion course where you'll be certified, and it's all going to be online. And
Oh,
that's
love
going
it.
to be that I'm launching in September. And then
Okay.
I have my Feng Shui, my Fun Shui program for young adults. So both of them are 3 months long. They're both coming out in September, and I'm going to have all the promotion on my website soon. I'm just putting it all together right now.
Excellent. Okay, so tell
Yeah.
us your website so that everybody knows how
Oh,
to connect with you.
okay. It's Feng Shui from the heart.com. FENGSHUI from
Okay,
the heart.
perfect. I'll put it in the show notes and I'll also
Thank
connect them
you.
with your Instagram so they've got that.
Wonderful.
And
This has been such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
you're so welcome. Thank
Such a
you.
such a delight, and I so appreciate you. And you're so good at what you do, and I trust you immensely to clear homes. I was just someone just wrote me the other day. I don't know if she's called you Marcy yet,
No.
but Marcy, an Instagram friend said, "Do you know anyone else that can clear?" And I said, "You got to go to Monique.
Thank
She's the
you.
one. She's the one in Miami. She's the only one. I mean, not to say that I don't trust my other students, but I think you're the only one that's actively doing
Yes.
this.
Well,
And
thank you. It's an
and
honor
you're
and a
so
pleasure.
clear, and your energy is so clear, and you
Oh,
bring in such a high vibe. So I really appreciate you.
thank you, my dear. This was such a great
Thank
connection
you.
and
Yeah.
sending you and your beautiful little boy and your husband all the love and light in the world and
Thank you.
continued success.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye
See you
bye.
soon. Thanks for
See
joining,
you.
everybody.
Thank you. Bye.